No matter what you're a fan of, Texas has the trip for you. There's the trip to Texas and the trip. Or maybe you're the kind of fan who'd prefer a trip to Texas or a trip. Either way, go to traveltexas.com/getyourown for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
What do 8 bags of concrete mix, a cooler full of 30-pound sea bass, and a 10-inch compound miter saw have in common? They're all things that are easier to load in and out of the bed of the new F-150. Thanks to its new available Pro Access tailgate that's also a swing gate. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Pro Access tailgate available starting spring 2024. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and weight distribution.
Celebrated our 1-year anniversary this past October.
Your wedding.
Oh, you got married a year ago.
Last year, yeah.
Wow. Wait, so you got married in
pandemic,
October 2020?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that? How was your wedding? How was the planning and all that stuff?
It was different. I would say it took us through a lot of challenges, and we really had to look at what was important for ourselves. And we had to redefine love, family, relationships, and just determining who could come. Where would it be? You know, what was when it is a tragedy.
This the stuff of fairy tales and majesty, magically. Like I pulled you out of hat, pull you out of bag from out of mag if you want that. Pull up in the slab and pull off with you in my lap. Top down.
Welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things from around the world. And as you guys can see, she stuck around till this episode. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Jackie. I'm his fiance, and I'm his co-host for season 3, Travel Tuesday Couples Goals.
Amazing. And we have an amazing dynamic duo. Can you guys tell us who you are and where you guys from?
We are Nasha and Steve Pace. We are originally from Syracuse, New York, and we own Changing Pace Travel.
Okay. So that leads me to my next question. Like what do you guys do? What did you do before starting Changing Pace Travel?
Before we started, I was in corporate America for about 20 years, and then I retired out, I'd say about 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Started my own company and have been doing travel-related things in the event management space. That's what I did for corporate. So I did that. And Steve?
Before this, I'm still in corporate America. Nasha runs the business full time, and I assist her part time. And obviously, my goal is to help her full time. But before that, travel is always I've always wanted to find a way to make travel a business, right? And I researched a lot of things, and it just wasn't right. I was just trying to figure it out. You know, there was a lot of different ways to get into this business, even like the MLM type thing, or it just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? So when we met, it just kind of
6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago.
She made it click.
It just kind of came together because she was already doing women's retreats when I met her. And so I was just trying to find a way to make it a business. And that's where Changing Pace Travel came into. Changing Pace Travel was born.
Right.
Okay. And how did y'all meet?
I'll take that one. Interesting story. Nasha and I went to the same high school in Syracuse, New York. However, she was a year ahead of me. But we never traveled in the same circles, right? I couldn't even remember. I don't remember having one conversation with her in high school, right? I would see her on the hallways, and we just didn't, we ran in 2 separate circles.
Yeah.
So 6 years ago, unfortunately, one of my best friends passed away, and so I went up there for his funeral, and she was there, and so at the repast, at the church,
My church.
Her church, Bethany Baptist in Syracuse, New York. She was just sitting at the table eating by herself. And so I was in line getting some food, and I saw her and I recognized her face, right? But I didn't know her name. I couldn't remember her name, right? But I smiled at her, she smiled at me, so I figured she recognized me. But
I did, but I didn't know his name either.
She didn't know my name. Nice. So I don't know what it was, but I just got out of line and I walked over to her table and I started talking to her.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, I said, you used to have that funny name. I was trying to figure out who her name was. Right? It was trying to come back to me, right? And she says, yes, my name's Lenachika. I said, yeah, you had that funny name.
Right.
And then I told her what my name was, and I guess she was looking at I
was looking at the obituary,
the program to find my name and things like that, you know, after the fact, and that was it. And I didn't see her again, and then she hits me up in my DM.
No, he didn't tell her right. It wasn't it. And in departing, he gave me this hug goodbye, but you know, it was like a church hug in church. But it wasn't like a church hug because I was like, that's my husband, right?
Yeah. Oh, Dasha, you knew. You like, okay.
He's the one.
I gave her that departing hug. And I didn't think much of it, right? And so I get a message on my Facebook Messenger, and she says something about if you ever need to talk, or because I just lost one of my buddies, you know what I mean? So I was a sad occasion.
So I'm here to listen.
I'm here. I'm here.
Somebody a shoulder to cry on.
You can cry on my shoulder.
And so I'm sitting with
She got moves.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting with my buddy. I was like, I just got this text message. Did you get the same one? Because, you know, we're all, you know, maybe she wants to,
talk to
all of us because we're all feeling it, you know what I mean? But she was like, nah. So I was like, okay. And so I returned the text and I was like, you know, I'll give you a call in a couple of days when I return to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know? And I was thinking about her the whole time. I was like, wow, you know, remember she was beautiful, and I saw her and I was like, wow, okay. So I got to Atlanta and I called her, and we've been talking ever since.
Yeah.
Nice.
And about, I guess about what, 7 or 8 months later, she moved down to Atlanta. And here we are. We've been together 6 years, but we celebrated our 1-year anniversary this past October.
Oh, you got married a year ago.
Last year, yeah.
Wow. Wait, so you got married in
pandemic,
October 2020?
Yes.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was that? How was your wedding? How was the planning and all that stuff?
It was different. I would say it took us through a lot of challenges, and we really had to look at what was important for ourselves. And we had to redefine love, family, relationships, and just determining who could come. Where would it be? You know, what was really important to us? Do we wait until it's over so we can have everybody there? What is this really about? And I think that was the hardest part in digging that out. And at some point we decided our love was more important than anything. And so this was about us and our union, and the rest of the world can share in, but social media is wonderful in that we can invite them through social networks like Facebook. And we had the wedding in Pennsylvania at a Black mansion there that I used to host retreats at on Bethany Lane. Yeah, the mansion at Noble Lane. And that's where we had it because it was like a castle. It's like a beautiful, it has history, and we're big into Black culture, Black history. And so Bethany Baptist Church on Bethany Lane in Bethany, Pennsylvania, at the Black church, and at the Black-owned mansion, and my pastor got to come and marry us, and we had an intimate number of 10 people.
Nice.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
I hear that. 10 people.
10
people. But that was in the height of the pandemic. 2020, we're having 50 people. We have a destination wedding. he probably would prefer 10 people.
Yes, I didn't say anything. I just said 10 people.
All right.
You know,
I digress.
It was very hard to get to 10. Yeah, it was extremely hard to get to 10.
I'm sure.
And that just wasn't a process in itself. And so we really shared our love story with people and letting them know that they were all important to us. Mm-hmm. And we really chose like our closest family.
Basically, whoever could make it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Whoever can make it out of our pool of 15.
Yeah, I didn't put pressure on anybody. Like I didn't have anybody standing with me. I just didn't want to put pressure on people. I said, hey, if you can make it, you can make it. Mm-hmm. But we shared it on Facebook Live.
Oh, nice.
And, we had a group. We had a
we had our own private group.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people saw it.
Nice.
We did a countdown of 30 days. And then the 30th day, we started sharing our story and the pieces they didn't know, but assumed. Then we just kind of went into our history a little bit. So every day we got people anticipated and excited and why we chose this and all the pieces to the puzzle.
That sounds so sentimental.
You're giving her ideas.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I mean.
And our hashtag was Pace for Eternity.
Nice. I love that. I love that.
Okay. Awesome. So what inspired you individually to travel in the first place?
Individual. Well, for me, both of our parents afforded us the opportunity to travel at a young age. I my first time out of the country was when I was 18 years old, and I flew to Copenhagen, Denmark, with my football team at the time. I used to play football for Wagner College in Staten Island, and we went over there to do a exhibition with a team from over there. In Denmark, stayed there 10 days, and I was 18, young. They could drink over there. I was just like, wow, you're going to bars, and it was just like, wow, And so that was my first fascination with travel, right? Then obviously, life happens, right? You have family or kids and things like that. So it wasn't like a priority, you know what I mean? So you go places here and there, with the Cancun fellas or a couple of times, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So and so when we met, for me, I was like, man, this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So I love seeing the world and things like that. I didn't want to keep doing the same old thing, So that's what started it for me.
For me, I got bitten by the travel bug at 21. So just like my parents afforded me the opportunity to go places as well. So I went places with, elementary school trips, field trips and things like that. But at 21, I got bitten with the travel bug and hosted my own birthday party in the Thousand Islands. And once I did that, I was like, I'm an event planner. I could do this. I'm ready to travel. And I started feeling like I had an alarm clock in my body that would go off and tell me, you need to get out. You need to go. So I started seeking career opportunities. And the number one thing I looked at in my career was if it didn't have travel, it wasn't for me. So unlike people who are like, oh, if it's travel, I can't do it. That was my number one requirement in a job. I didn't care what the job description was. So I sought out a career, and my first opportunity going international was Germany at 23 through the company. And I spent I spent a month and a half to 3 months. I went back and forth for training. That was my very first opportunity.
Wow. So what's crazy? What's crazy about that? I'm in IT. And so one of the first things I look for is the percentage of travel. Right. Anything 20%, anything 20% low, you're more likely not going to be traveling. But once it's at the 40% mark,
yes.
You got to do a company retreat. You got to go train somebody if you're good. And since we're good at everything we do, we're usually training, right? And so that's how I literally got my stateside travel up. Like between that, my one manager at the time was like, look, get every rewards program possible, because you're going to be traveling a lot. So I will say like I was Diamond Hilton within like my first year of work on my last job. And so it was one of those situations where I was like, oh, this is what we talking about? I'm talking about it afforded me a 10-day stay in the Hilton in South Africa for free.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's amazing. So what about traveling together? Right. Like, did you guys
your first trip?
Right.
Jamaica.
No, our first trip domestically was Miami.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we were there scouting out the location for our first event that started us on our business. So we had to fly down there and talk to the hotels, sign contracts with the hotels, and get all the different venues. See the different venues. And at the time, we were gonna have a boat and a yacht, and so that was our first.
Do it big.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't started out that way.
We didn't have the boat.
We had hydrant. We had big vision.
Yeah.
And high hopes, but
Yeah. So we were down there. We signed our first contract ever. And we learned a lot from that event.
Oh yeah.
And so that was our first time traveling together in Miami, and our first international was Jamaica,
right?
Which is our favorite country in the world. This will be our 6th time going next month.
Jeez.
Oh wow!
So y'all Jamaicans at this point. That's what they said. If you've been there more than twice, you're Jamaican.
Yes. Again.
What makes you choose Jamaica, and like what part do you go to?
You know what? I've always wanted to go to Jamaica, right? But I've always heard bad things about Jamaica, right? I've always heard that when you go to Jamaica, you stay on the resort, right? You don't go off the resort. I've always heard. I've known friends who traveled to Jamaica, and that it just always intrigued me, right? So so we decided to do our first international event and take a group of people to Jamaica, right? But we decided to go there earlier in the year to kind of see Jamaica for ourselves, right? Okay. And when we got there, it was just totally different.
Yeah. What part did you go to?
Montego Bay.
Montego Bay.
And we also traveled and spent the day in the grill as well as Ocho Rios, and just kind of did some tours and just kind of got familiar with it. Okay. We became Jamaica travel specialists with the Jamaican Travel Board. Okay. So it was important for us to get familiar with Jamaica because we wanted to sell Jamaica.
Yeah.
Right. So so it was just totally different. Right. The vibe, they when you come there, they say, welcome home, and the people, the culture, every place has its bad parts, right? So even when you walk out your door every day, I don't care where you live, right? There's certain places you stay away from at night if you don't know where you're going, right? That's everywhere. It's just not one country or the other, right?
Yeah.
So I went there and I just fell in love with it. The music, the everything, So we had 3 groups. We took 3 groups there. Since we started our business.
We actually went to Jamaica last August.
Yeah, we were there August.
We went to Ocho Rios.
Rio.
Yeah.
Ocho Rios?
Okay. Yep. Yeah. That's a nice spot. Well, I think they got a new one they're putting up in Montego Bay, or refurbishing one in Montego Bay.
They just did.
They finished.
They just did. Rio Montego Bay. They made it was family friendly.
Right.
They made it an adult only. They just renovated that.
Okay. So Rio, if you're hearing us, we got 2 sponsorships we're looking for. Just in case y'all heard us, Rio.
Have you guys stayed at Rio? Do you like? I know they have places all over the world. Yeah.
We're actually Rio. We're actually Rio travel specialists as well.
Listen. We need to have a conversation.
We took the test.
Yeah.
Listen, I think there's a Rio London or something like that. Yeah, so we might have to have a conversation, after this interview.
Okay. Yeah. So all of our groups, we to Jamaica, we took them to Rio Reggae. We did 2 at Rio Reggae and 1 at Rio Montego Bay.
Nice. Rio Reggae is the one in the grill, right?
No, Rio Reggae is in Montego Bay.
Oh,
so they
have 3 right next door to each other.
Oh wow. That's crazy. Okay, that's
in Montego Bay.
In Montego Bay.
So is it entrance for each individual? I know this is a lot of detail, but like entrance for one for all, or you have entrance for one individually?
If you stay at the Ryu Palace, which is like they call it like the higher tier resort, you have access to the Ryu Reggae, which is on the left, and the Ryu Montego Bay, which is on the right. Okay. If you stay at Ryu Reggae, you have access to Ryu Montego Bay,
but not to the palace.
Correct.
But not to the palace.
Correct.
Okay. If you stay at Ryu Montego Bay, you stay at Ryu Montego Bay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us know. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, it was just like, so if you have friends at different resorts, just make sure, you guys are in the parking lot.
Right. Got you. Right. If you're not at the palace, then.
Right. And I'm privy to Ryu Reggae because that's where he proposed to me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
What was the proposal trip? How long had y'all been together? Did you date it and she didn't even know? Was she surprised? I got all the questions. What's up?
Well, I'll take it. Yeah. So it was our group trip. It was our second group trip to Jamaica, and I made sure her daughter was on that trip, and and so we kind of collaborated and things like that between me and her daughter. Nice. I showed her daughter the ring, and just kind of I asked her daughter to for permission to marry her mom and things like that. So since then we were kind of in cahoots, So anyway, we get there. Oh man, this is a funny story. Oh man, we share the story.
Yeah.
All right. We're grown, right? So this is the story. So her and I get there, we're in Jamaica, right? So my guy,
a friend, just a friend
hooked us up with some brownies. And you know what brownies are, right?
Yes.
So her and I had some brownies. And her and I got really,
happy.
Really happy. Right?
Happy brownies, and you got happy.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and at the same time, we had to welcome our group who was on their way in like 2 hours.
And they were more potent than we expected. And I ate like half the brownie.
Okay.
So I'm just like, wow, I'm just like really, really happy, right? And so she just gone, right? She's back at the room. She said, I gotta sleep. I said, babe, we gotta get up, we gotta work. We gotta these people are coming. We gotta I was just trying to switch my brain to just into work mode, right? But I did it so hard. And so anyway, we met our group. I got her up out the bed and she was just still happy, right? I was too. And then we meet our group and someone says, I want whatever she got. Now, granted,
they didn't even see us. They just saw us on the bus as they pulled in. So I don't know what I was looking like.
Now, granted, the whole bus had those same brownies.
Right.
Right. So I called my boy. I was like, yo, man, let's see these brownies. I'm like, I told you to just take a pinch. And he was right. And so I said, tell them to take a pinch because they're strong, whatever. So anyway, the happiness kind of wore off during the day, right? So so we are in the welcome happy hour, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then one of the guests, and I'm right, I was going to propose to her there, right? At the happy hour. We had a private happy hour to set the drinks and food and things like that.
Like start the trip off, just do it right away.
Right. So I'm going to propose to her, but one of our guests got a little too happy with the brownie. She ate too much. And so we had to attend to her.
Yeah.
Long story short, it didn't happen during that time, right?
Okay.
And so I'm talking to her daughter. I was like, okay, how about you bring your mom on the beach and I'll just do it on the beach away from everybody else.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we switched that up. So now we went from the welcome reception
to dinner.
To the dinner. right? And so we have this thing where we go along and just have everybody introduce themselves and because people on the trip don't know each other. And a lot of times we're meeting those people for the first time.
Right.
And so me and her daughter had this thing where I would come around and make this last speech, right? After everybody introduced themselves. And then that's what happened, right? So we're all in this private room, right? And the rest of the dining hall can see us, but it's blocked off by glass. So I proposed to her, and it was a shock to everybody. Then all of a sudden, I hear all this other yelling and screaming, right? Like, and clapping, right? So I look over, and the whole dining hall is just clapping and cheering, along with our own guests. And so one guy opens it. There's videos of this out there, right?
Yes.
So awesome. The one guy opens the door, he gives me a pound and stuff, and that's what happened,
Yeah. Nasha, were you surprised, or did you expect something was going to happen?
Completely surprised. I was still high a teeny bit.
You were still happy.
I was still happy. I was happy, right? And I was trying to focus really hard on just doing my job at that point. Was making sure I tell our story, what the expectation is, and just get everybody excited on this trip. And this is the first time everybody's together, and so I was focused so hard. But I also know we just practiced, and we were supposed to go one way. But then I couldn't understand why he wasn't keeping up with what was supposed to happen. And now I understand that he was so focused on what am I going to say to propose to her? I was like, I don't get it. Okay, I guess I'll just keep going, that kind of thing. Until right. So I was completely shocked. And when he bent down, I tried to pick him up because I was like, oh, what's wrong with him? Let me try to pick him up. And then somebody hollers, is he gonna propose? And I was like, no. No, I had absolutely no idea whatsoever. No idea. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's so nice.
I purchased the ring maybe a month before, right? And so I was hiding it in the house for a long time, right? And when we got there, I had it in my backpack, and I would not let my backpack go. I was carrying my backpack wherever I went.
Right.
And so I had to leave it in the room.
Right. Where I was.
But I was more concerned that maybe she'd find it or something. I don't know. I was just paranoid. I was happy,
he was
right?
paranoid.
So anyway, it went, long story short, here we are today.
Yeah.
And we actually, to go back, we actually announced because we were supposed to have a destination wedding back to Jamaica the next year.
Right.
Oh, wow.
In 2020. And that's what,
Yeah.
And COVID.
And then COVID.
Then COVID happened and, we switched gears.
So. Right.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's a great
amazing.
Story, though.
Yeah. So Jamaica's your favorite place to visit. What's been your most memorable?
When you visit a state as big and diverse as Texas, there are a million different trips you can take. Let's say you've got an appetite for whitewater kayaking. You can get your own, so this is why they call it Devil's River, trip to Texas. Or maybe you have an actual appetite. I'll take a pound of brisket, 6 ribs, 3 links of sausage, and a piece of pecan pie. Trip to Texas. Go to traveltexas.com/get your own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
Experience a different tomorrow with Norwegian Cruise Line. Book today and get 50% off your cruise to Alaska, Europe, and beyond. Plus, everyone can enjoy their vacation with free unlimited open bar, free specialty dining, and more. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Offer ends soon. Norwegian Cruise Line. Ships registry the Bahamas and USA. Restrictions apply.
The rest of my life gon' start today.
What do 8 bags of concrete mix, a cooler full of 30-pound sea bass, and a 10-inch compound miter saw have in common? They're all things that are easier to load in and out of the bed of the new F-150. Thanks to its new available Pro Access tailgate that's also a swing gate. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Pro Access tailgate available starting spring 2024. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and weight distribution.
Trip together.
I know what you're gonna say.
What, Exuma?
Yeah.
It's between Exuma and Dubai.
Where is it? Please educate me. Where is Exuma?
Exuma is in the Bahamas. They have 700 islands and cays together, besides Nassau, the one that everybody knows about.
Right.
Exuma has about 300 and something within Exuma.
Right.
Okay.
Little keys.
Right. And Exuma is a tiny little island in the Bahamas. A lot of celebrities buy houses and
buy islands.
Buy islands. They don't buy houses. They buy islands here.
Nice.
So it's very excluded. It's very natural. It's not the turn up like Nassau whatsoever.
Okay.
And so we went there just last year, and that became last November, and that became my number one island that I am just truly in love with for self-care, for just holistic healing, for being really connected to the element, for no distractions. Just to give you an example, this island doesn't even have one fast food restaurant found at all. Not allowed. So they really keep things back to the roots, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that is that's what I would look for when I look for respite and wellness. So Exuma is it, and not to mention the waters are crystal clear blue like the Maldives. And you walk in the ocean for miles, waist deep or knee deep.
Coco Palm Beach.
And it's sand dunes. I mean, just like you're in the Maldives.
Wow.
So Exuma is my number one island for me. And then Dubai. Of course, I love Dubai. And that was our first trip that we took people the furthest. We did that March
of 2020.
When they announced the pandemic, COVID. And here we were flying to another country, and they hadn't shut us down yet. And that's when we were there is when the announcement came from the United States to shut the borders.
Wow.
And here we are with 30-something people. Like, what? But it was the most fantastic trip, opulence, just creativity. If you want to know what people can do with nothing, I always say, if you build in the desert, man, your imagination is as creative as they get. And so that's what I love Dubai for, is seeing what people can do with nothing.
Yeah.
That's actually on my bucket list of it's really high up there on the places I want to go. So
yeah, Dubai would be like the Jetsons very soon.
Yeah.
I see it there in Singapore. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, so we had to navigate through all of that. And the last couple of days, they start shutting things down, right? So we didn't get to go up into the Burj Khalifa. They shut that down. We didn't get to go inside the mosque in Abu Dhabi, Sheikh Zayed Mosque. But we got to go outside of it and take a picture. So we're going back next year, and we
got to do everything else.
We got to do everything else, and that kind of, man, just us navigating that. It really educated us, and they're like, man, we got through that. You know what I mean? So I feel we can do anything after that.
That's what's up.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
what
was your most memorable? What was your most memorable trip?
Was it Dubai?
Yes, definitely Dubai.
Nice.
Definitely Dubai, because, man, we really had to pivot and make these people comfortable, because I had somebody wanting to have a conversation at 2:00 in the morning, and she was so worried. One of my boys' wives, and man, so I had to, calm her down, because people didn't think they could get back home. Right. So here we are. When we went to Dubai, we literally had the whole plane to ourselves. Big A380. We had it to ourselves, right? Literally.
There were 6 other people on the plane besides our plane.
It was like Soul Plane.
The largest plane, the largest, most expensive plane you'll find is Emirates Airline.
Yeah.
On that plane with only 6 other people. The whole
So
plane.
your group was 30 people, you said?
About that,
32.
about 20, something like that.
We ended up, I think, 32.
Yeah.
32.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and now when we got there, right? Now, granted, everything's developing, right? COVID is developing and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. And as long as the borders were open, nothing was shut down. We still had to go, right? People paid money, so we had to go. So when we got there, they wanted to give us COVID tests and things like that, right? And that was we weren't told we were going to do that, right?
Right. Intervene. What we do today is what they did then, but then we weren't abreast of it. We didn't know anything about it, and we didn't have to do that. So we weren't accustomed to COVID tests and waiting hours for a result and waiting for doctors to check us and somebody telling us no. Right. So everything that we do now as a norm today was done then.
Was already done 2 years ago.
Because they were trying to protect the kingdom. They were like, y'all not bringing nothing over here.
Yeah. Like if you ever, that's probably, I would say Dubai is probably like the safest place you can go right now. I promise you that. So they said somebody had to come, but they're like 4 hours away. Now, granted, it's 7:30 in the morning. We got to Dubai,
right? Yeah.
And so eventually, we had this one little lady on the plane. God bless her heart. She was just a little pit bull, right? Mm-hmm. And long story short, they said, "The heck with it. I'm tired of dealing with this lady. To let them in, right?" Now, granted, there were already people going.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There were people going through customs.
Yes.
I don't know. Right. Somebody said we were coming from New York. Now, granted, we had 2 people in wheelchairs, right, on our plane, and they went through, right? And so when they got to us, I don't know if it's because we was melanated. I don't know what it was. It was like, wait, where y'all come from?
It was because we were melanated and coming from JFK, from New York.
Okay.
On both sides. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was our favorite trip.
Yeah, I think at that time, JFK, LA, and FSO were like 2 red thing. Red zone.
Red listed. They were red listed.
Yeah, they were red listed. Yeah. So it was one of those where if you were coming from anywhere there, countries were taking extra precautions.
Oh, wow. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for us, I would say that was the most exciting trip for us. It was the biggest trip for us because I saw us walking our calling more than anything during that trip. And people believe that hosting group trips is the easiest thing ever. It is. If you've ever done it, it's not. It looks glamorous.
Listen, we got a travel agent to schedule everything, to book everybody's excursions, and all of that fun. Had we met y'all sooner, we probably would have been like, "Hey, do y'all mind handling the logistics for us?"
Right.
I mean, because you think about it.
I set out. I was like, let's just invite people, and they get there, and that's it. After a few weeks of that nonsense, Paige was like, we need to get a travel agent so that we can break up the expense because the hotel wanted all upfront payment, and we're talking about a year in advance of the wedding. They wanted all upfront payment, plus there was excursions involved and travel and all this kind of stuff. So Paige was like, let's just get a travel agent. And the travel agent took over and made it a breeze for everyone.
Yes. And that's what we do. And so this particular trip, you're minding other people's fears constantly. You're trying to manage their expectations while expectations are in flux. So it wasn't just getting them there. It was helping them to maintain a certain level of calm there and having a certain expectation coming back because everybody in the United States is texting them saying, you're not getting back in. JFK is not letting anybody in. We're like,
they're hearing all the news
reports. Right.
And they're and we're flipping too because it's like, oh my gosh, they're not going to let us go home. Now,
it was an unknown massive fear. I can only imagine.
Right. You're right. So I would say that trip was the trip that we learned the most about each other. We learned what we could handle, what we couldn't handle, how to feed off of each other, who just had enough, we learned what we were specialized in even more than what we knew, and just kind of where our extra gifts were. So
what were some of those, what have you learned,
Nasha, what have you learned about Steve? Traveling with him. Through traveling with him, what have you learned about him?
Steve allows me to handle the people management. When it comes time to addressing just having to go face to face with them, or their fears, or they're difficult, or there's an issue with something, I'm that person. I'm the face person.
Okay.
I think I was called for that, right? And Steve is the person who's on the phone making it happen with the tour operators, the whoever. He's the behind the scenes person handling all of the details so that things line up. Just so whatever I'm up here saying, he's making happen behind the scenes.
Right.
And that's what I learned about us.
Okay.
Across the board. Yeah.
Yes.
So just to give you a quick example, you know, we're touring, right? And I'm getting text messages from the tour operator and say, hey, this is closing down. This is closing down. And so I had the tour operator, the representative. So I'm talking to her, and we're coming up with a plan of action of how we're going to tell the group that things are shutting down. And so that's what I'm doing. But at the same time, no one would ever realize it because I always have a smile on my face.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
okay.
And I'm busy giving them an expectation that things could change, you know, but it'll be all right no matter what it's going to be. Because at the end of the day, we're getting home. You know, just hey,
you need that optimism, especially when you're out the country.
Right.
Exactly. And what'd you learn about me?
Was that your next question? What I learned about me?
Yes.
Well, man, I guess just while traveling.
Yeah, in general, not just
like what have you learned about Nasha through traveling that you probably wouldn't have known if you guys hadn't traveled together?
Okay. Like Nasha is like I would say the brains of the operation. Like she's like the website developer. She's like collecting all the payments. She's like all the spreadsheets, I'm a numbers guy. I kind of help her out with that, but she puts it all together, right?
Yeah.
And like she says, I'm behind the scenes dealing with the tour operators and things like that. But the thing that I learned about her, you know, she's damn good at what she does. You know what I mean? Like I give it to her. Mm-hmm. You know, like when I don't know, she should have been an attorney or something. And then like, she's working all the policies, procedures, and things like that, making sure our stuff is straight.
Yeah.
And but when she's on the trip, right? When she's on the trip, it's kind of like she's one of the guests, right? Yeah. She's not working anymore, right?
I'm done.
She's done. Right? And so, you know,
it's true.
We're trying to gather everybody, right? Let's talk about Dubai. And we're trying to gather everybody. And she's still taking pictures. And I'm like, hey, help me out. We got to go, right? So she is one of the guests when we're on location.
Yeah.
You know, I finally get to work when we're on location.
Right.
So,
and I work up until that.
Yeah.
Not to say that he doesn't, because he is putting things together with the tour operators, but I'm 100% in prior to going. When I get there, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, she is.
I'm exhausted.
I let her do her
I'm
thing.
Just meeting the face to the name that I've been talking to for a long time and working with. And now I'm here for the experience, and then I hand it off.
Yeah.
Got it.
Nice. Yeah. And so now that the world's your oyster, right? Like, and you guys have been around, seen a lot of things. Do you guys still have a bucket list, or it's like, I feel that we could go anywhere. It doesn't really matter.
We have a bucket list. The way that we choose what to do when is based off what we need when. So we follow the blueprint of the diaspora wherever we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So if we want to connect to more of our culture or more of the nature or we just need fast-paced learning, getting a different perspective of wherever we are and just being injected in that and not relaxation, more adventure, that's how we choose where we're going. So even though we have a bucket list, it changes often because we'll have it and we'll go, nah, I'm not feeling that right now. I'm feeling this instead, right?
Yeah.
So like last year was all relaxation, self-care, wellness. It was just keep the spirit calm. This year, we're still there, but now we're starting to kick it back in. You know, now we're ready to hit the ground and see some adventure and really learn the lay of the land, learn the people, what, you know, just what's there. And then 2023, we're already setting it up to go abroad, really abroad, I would say, hopping over continents.
Nice.
In 2023, that's the goal from then on.
Don't forget us. You know.
Okay.
And we also wherever we go, we always try to find that African footprint in wherever we go. Right.
Looking for the culture.
Right. Just like say we got a group going to Paris in July, and we're going to do the Black Paris tour and learn about what's her name, the dancer.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is starting to kick in a little bit.
Hey, listen. This is happy hour. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Is it Dorothy Dandridge?
Yes.
Dorothy Dandridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dorothy Dandridge. Yeah.
No, that's not her.
Oh, if Dorothy's one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Like all the Black poets and like Baldwin and just that whole thing. We're gonna do Black. What's the neighborhood?
Montreux.
Yeah.
Montreux area. Yeah.
So we're just gonna trace that African that footprint.
Yeah. Our goal is just, like I said, wherever we go, it's not just, oh, here's the photo shoot. It's not about the photo shoot, right? It's about what's behind where you are and where are we in the development, because we were let off all over the world.
Right.
So what was our contribution to that area, right? What did history books not tell us? And how do you identify in this place with yourself? Because you should deal with yourself wherever you go.
Right.
And that is our mission. So before we go anywhere, we're always half of our research is, who do we connect to beforehand? Who do we connect to that's of color, of black descent, or of color, right?
Yeah.
And so we're hiring and working with those tour guides. And so we have someone to connect to when we get there. We're not just out here exploring on our own, which helps us to stay safe, if you will, safer, by going to the right neighborhoods. We learn before we go, and then we're there connecting with them when we do go.
Right.
Nice. So would you say that what drives you guys to travel is culture and connecting with the diaspora?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't just want to see where we have contributed, but we want to see what others have contributed. We want to see a reflection of ourselves. I think when you meet other people and you can see a bit of yourself and you learn the culture, the history, the food, things start ringing a bell about you make connections that you never thought. They're soul connections. You start making soul connections, spiritual connections to the music. And you say, wow, this is where that came from. This moves my spirit. I see people just like me. People start coming up to you and going, you must be from the area. Right? People speak different languages to you. And you're like, no, I'm not, but maybe I am. They'll say, yeah, you have roots here. And they can feel you just like you can feel them. So that connection helps people with wholeness.
Okay. So you actually bring me to a good point here where one of the things I ask a lot of my guests is like, what's your experiences been like traveling while Black, right? Before the last 6 years, you guys had your own travel journeys. And this is not an attempt to like, this place was the worst place, but what was your travel experience traveling while Black? I know as a big Black man, it teeter-totters, right? They either mess with you or they don't. So, and as a woman, especially in New York City, she experiences it a lot. The whistling, the hollering,
catcalls, unnecessary.
Have you guys seen that you're treated different when you travel international versus domestically?
I haven't seen anything blatant. Maybe in my childhood, yes. When I went to Denmark for the first time, yes. And you go to some places, every Black person is like, they just call it, hey, Mike Tyson, or they
Keisha.
Call you Beyonce, or we went to Dubai and
Dubai just happened.
And they was like Kiki,
Kiki, Keisha, like, Beyonce. They have names for
like
you.
Kiki,
that's going to grab your
attention.
love
me?
Wow.
Oh yeah.
But they don't know any better though, right?
They'll catcall to get your attention, and they think that that's how to make the connection. And you look because you're like. So there's a video of them catcalling, and I was like, my name's not any Kiki. Who looks like I don't even look like a Kiki. That he goes, well, Beyonce. And I'm like, no.
But they do that to kind of, get your attention and kind of warm up to you. It's not like being like racist and blatant, but they just don't know how that may be offensive. Yeah. They just don't know any better, right?
Right. And obviously someone's answered to it before.
Right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they're watching popular culture here.
Right.
And leveraging that to be able to kind of connect. Because like, I'll use this as an example. I went to the bazaar in Egypt, right? And this one guy was trying, so there's a scout that goes to determine and tell all the merchants who you can give the high prices to. So he screams out, "Welcome to Alaska." Anybody that laughs is automatically picked out of the group as American, right? And so at that point, it's like, we're going to charge you an extra 20%. Luckily, the person I was there with spoke French and can haggle. And so for us, we were like, whoo, we're good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it really goes to identifying us out of the entire group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of times they'll use popular vernacular or certain lexicons to be able to be like, let's try to connect with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so do you guys find it that you still experience that together versus apart?
No.
What has traveling been like for you individually, or any contrast have you seen? Do you see any difference when you travel by yourself versus when you travel with your spouse?
For me, actually, when we go places, they always manage to call him boss. Boss man. Everywhere we go. And I always giggle and I go, I'm the boss woman. We just have our own little insight. I said, but don't tell him, so I just ride with it because that's what's perceived.
Yes.
But when I'm with my groups, people call me boss lady. They just perceive that I'm the boss, even if I pretend not to be. And I just try to act like we're friends group. They always just pick one out and they can kind of figure out, like you said, who to deal with, who to up the person. And I'm a haggler. So they're always shocked as well that I'm going to haggle with them. I'm like, I don't know. Your blood all day.
Right.
So, but other than that, I don't receive any other disrespect any differently. I receive the same respect as I do when I'm with my husband.
Okay. Yeah, that's what good. About you, Steve? Oh, go ahead. Any difference?
No, I don't really get to travel by myself. But,
No, I would just say a lot of the times though, they will choose to speak to Steve solo, walking ahead of me, the whole, and I just fall in line because I can see that that's the custom there.
Right.
That's the culture.
Like Dubai, that's the custom there.
The islands as well. The islands, the vendors, the suppliers, they always go to Steve.
Right.
And I just let it be.
Culturally, you don't speak to another man's woman in other places.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. But otherwise, we're not seeing racism portrayed directly in our faces when we go places. We're
just
not.
A little sexism, no big deal.
Sexism more than anything.
Because a lot of the places that we travel to are Caribbean and Mexico and things like that, where we're there, right?
Yeah.
But I could imagine I would probably have another story to tell you after we come back from Paris. You know what I mean? And places over there. Across the pond.
So have you guys so would Paris be the first European trip you guys are going to together, or?
Together, yes. I've been to Paris before. And also when we're going, my daughter's French speaking. And so she'll be there to speak to everything for us, as well as we have Black Paris tour leaders.
And I think what helps for your situation, and because everyone's situation is different, is that you guys go looking for the Black experience, right? And so your point of contact is always making sure that you're in a place of comfort. And even in the areas of comfort, if you don't speak the language, they may not necessarily tell you, hey, by the way, they're looking at or talking to you about it a certain way. Because once again, it makes the country or the city that you're going to look bad. Right. So,
and the narrative is different too. If you here, anywhere, if you have a Black tour guide or a tour guide of African descent, your narrative is going to be different than if you have someone else.
Right.
If we tell our stories, we tell them differently than anyone else can tell them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Like, let's just say, for instance, if you go to Cartagena, right?
Right. I was going to say Cartagena.
And if you go with, say,
Real Cartagena tour.
let's just say maybe a white-owned tour company, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hear a whole nother side about Cartagena than you would through a Black tour operator, right?
Right.
Or local, right? Because so I went to Cartagena a few years ago, and we asked one of the cab drivers, "Look, give us a tour, tell us about it." And I told him I'm Haitian. He's like, "Haiti? Oh my gosh, Haiti and Colombia are like this." And he was like literally telling us a story about like Cartagena and the Black slaves that were here and all the culture. So
when you visit a state as big and diverse as Texas, there are a million different trips you can take. Let's say you've got an appetite for whitewater kayaking. You can get your own, so this is why they call it Devil's River, trip to Texas. Or maybe you have an actual appetite. I'll take a pound of brisket, 6 ribs, 3 links of sausage, and a piece of pecan pie. Trip to Texas. Go to traveltexas.com/get your own for the only trip to Texas that matters. Yours.
What do 8 bags of concrete mix, a cooler full of 30-pound sea bass, and a 10-inch compound miter saw have in common? They're all things that are easier to load in and out of the bed of the new F-150. Thanks to its new available Pro Access tailgate that's also a swing gate. The new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
Available starting early 2024. Pro Access tailgate available starting spring 2024. Cargo and load capacity limited by weight and weight distribution.
You know, it like you said, being able to define who you choose to talk to determines the experience.
The story's going to differ based on the perspective.
Right.
Yeah, and we always try to. The one thing we always try to find is Black-owned, local.
That's first.
Right?
Right.
Even with Airbnbs, Black-owned Airbnbs.
Wherever we stay.
We always try to, because we're a Black-owned business ourselves, we always try to support Black-owned businesses. You know.
Nice. But I can say that a lot of the local tour guides that we've had, because they're of color, I've seen them stop people from coming to us, trying to haggle us or whatever us. You can see them interject everywhere we go, pretty much. Just kind of putting that border between us and them, like not them. I'm with
there's a kinship.
Yes,
there's a kinship. Yes. I'm dealing with my folk. So my folk are not going to let anything else happen to me that other folk would.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's helped.
Yeah, I think I experienced that in Ghana when we went to Elmina Castle.
Yes.
You know, our tour guide of the castle wouldn't tell us the story until the white tourists left the space. Right? Not to offend them, but it was just, you know, he didn't feel like it was necessary to be able to speak about the rich history in front of them because they didn't deserve to hear it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, people take pride in what they're telling you. You know what I mean? Yes.
And cater it to the audience.
Yep.
You know, they cater it to the audience that they're speaking to.
Yeah, because certain places you go, like for example, Elmina Castle, there were so many people in our group that were frustrated that there were white people there, that it was like, why are you coming here? Like, why are you visiting? You know what this is. And so, you know, places like that is, and you know, I'm going off topic, but you know, places like that gets you frustrated. You're like, why y'all here? You know what I mean? But
for the tour guides, money is money. You know, the message might be different with, you know, different travelers, but for them, money is money. But to your point, getting a tour guide that understands we have a shared rich history and knowing that you don't have to be, you don't have to talk in a way that's sensitive to the descendants of the oppressor. We were all oppressed to a degree together, so we can speak freely.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
I understand.
That was deep. That was deep.
But that's why we always in our groups, we do private tours, and so it's just us.
Yeah, that's another thing we do, right? We have private transportation and private tours.
Yes,
everywhere we go.
But see,
especially now.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No. Go ahead.
Just to get back to your point, we were at the Rasta Village in Jamaica, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a Russian group there, like a Russian family there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't speak the language, totally disrespectful. The guy he just wanted to be there for the weed, right? And so eventually they ended up leaving, right? They had an interpreter and anything, right? And so when they left, man, it was just like, the Rastas are you don't disrespect, like,
right.
They're just very just serious about their culture and their ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they left, man, we were able to just sit there and vibe.
That's when the experience happened.
That's when the experience happened.
That's when we learned.
Us.
Yeah.
And without that distraction, because they're not there for. They're there for disrespectful reasons. You know what I mean?
Right.
They hear about the Rastas and that's all they think about is weed, right?
Yeah, they're not honoring the culture. They're not trying to experience holistically. They have their stereotypes and what they want to use, what they want. They're not interested in contributing or they're being in an exchange of any kind.
Similar to Cartagena, right? You got certain people that go to Cartagena, it's Colombia. So they're asking any rich person for the white girl. And you don't do that in Colombia. You know what I mean? And, they wonder why they get arrested, they get kidnapped. These different things happen to them. You don't just do that.
That's not funny,
but so, we're now at a place where we have to move around a lot different, right?
Yeah.
Not just as Black people as a culture, but the world in itself.
Mm-hmm.
How have you guys, you survived the lockdown?
Congratulations.
Right? Well, you guys were in Atlanta, so y'all didn't really shut down.
Life changed.
We're in the South, man. That's why I don't here.
Not at all.
They don't wear masks,
But not that, for some of us out of this 18-month lockdown, how has life changed to like finding a new norm, right?
Especially for travel as a business.
Right.
How's your business structure changed? How have things, like what's your new normal now that we are in a global pandemic
still?
Right. I'll start that with when the world shut down in March, we turned 50 in 2020. And so it was important for us to celebrate life.
Right.
And that year we were going to celebrate, I'm talking about really celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
So we made it a goal to get out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So my birthday's in June, world shut down, doors shut, borders shut in March. In June, they were back open to a few places.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, I'm not going, know. We took off and we went and we've been going ever since.
Nice. What was your first trip?
Puerto Rico. We tried to stay on homeland first, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what this is all about. Let's see, the hazmat suits and what they do to you and what is it like to quarantine. What is all of this? So we really got the lay of the land, and Puerto Rico acts totally different than the rest of the United States and how they behave because, it's the island. So Puerto Rico was first, and then from there on, we continued every month since. So our goal was to learn how to navigate in whatever environment we're in, because if we can show it, we can teach it.
Yeah.
That was our goal.
Yeah.
So
and get people through it.
So we weren't really trying to get people to go, right? But we wanted to show those who wanted to go that it was possible.
That it's possible. Yeah.
And that is what we continue to do. And that continues to shift because every time we start, we begin to think, oh, it's time to go again. Let's start building again. Let's project again.
Everything.
Then something else happens, right? It's a new wave. It's a new mandate. The country changed the mandate. So it's all of that. And that is exhausting to manage, right? It's exhausting to be here and here all the time. So at some point, in order to keep level key, our first requirement for our business is for us to go and stay level. And for us to stay ingrained in what we do and learn as much as we can, continuing our learning process. This is our learning process.
Yeah.
So that when people do come and they're seeing us, they'll say, hey, I see that you were just in, I want to go, is it safe? All these different things. And so we're trying to teach people how to live in a changed world and adjust to whatever the norms are without making any promises, and showing you that that's happening in life where you are. Right. We're here in Atlanta. We're here in Georgia. New York State has different rules. We just came back from NOLA 2 weeks ago. They're serious about their rules. So everybody has a different realm right here in the United States. So if you can manage these states, you can manage the world.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, because we just started driving up and down the coast.
Yeah.
Right. Just seeing how other cities are handling. Atlanta never shut down. Because
we shut down for 2 weeks.
That's because there was no gas. Right. I couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
We got the governor trying to sue Atlanta mayor for mask mandates. It was just great.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Is, we're all still trying to find a normal. And, through the pandemic, the show was really to kind of help show people that travel is possible.
Yeah.
Now, it sucks that I started it during the pandemic because, there's this glitz and glamour of what travel looks like. And then there's the reality of what you guys do. Right. And that's really why I wanted you guys on here, to kind of, educate people, and with that being said, and
we all knew we were going to come out of it at some point, we were going into it and things were changing, and then things were changing forever, but we were going to resume some level of normalcy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And so with that said, what would a person that's looking to start into travel, what are some things you would provide them, right?
Yeah. What's your travel tip?
Yeah, travel tips.
What's the travel tips for people?
We want to get to the group travel, but for people that want to travel, what are some things you would advise them to do first so that they can get a little more comfortable with the process?
The first thing is mindset. Alter your mindset right from day one. So before we're ready to book you, before we're offering you the opportunity to, these are the quotes or the rates or whatever, the first thing is readjust your mindset. Because if you can do that, then the expectation changes. So what you're reading on the website hasn't changed, right? All of the hotels haven't adjusted what they're offering. You're reading perks. You're looking at images of 2 years ago. You're watching pictures of people. People are posting pictures from 2 years ago of what their life was like, right? And it looks glamorous, and they can still do their photo ops. And no, life is totally different today. So if we can provide you the expectation first of what to expect and what not to pay attention to, then we can get on even platform to begin to really seek out what are you looking for, and what are, these may be the requirements today, right? They may change then. And do you meet them? First of all, do you meet those requirements, or this is what you need to do in order to go? Then the next thing goes to the rest, but I think it's about setting the expectation first. And so we set the expectation. Then we go out and we really try to figure out, our company does really good with understanding the needs of the person at that particular time. If you tell me you want to go out and party and you want to, it's like, okay, time out, right? If you tell me you want to go and I need to be away from everyone and I just need a breather and I need I just need space, or I just need open wilderness, or I just want to hit the streets running or be able to walk right outside of my Airbnb, VRBO, or the hotel, then we can meet that expectation. But I'm always telling people, don't go with images in your head of what you see online. Go with what's in your heart and what you need first. And then we can meet you there. And this is where we start.
That's good advice.
In some countries, the resorts have changed, right? Let's just go back to Rio's. Everybody goes to Rio and they like the alcohol in the rooms, right? There was no alcohol in the rooms,
and that's their number one feature. That's their selling feature,
right?
They haven't taken that down off the website.
Let me tell you how upset I was. I went to I'll call the front desk. I'm like, excuse me, there are no alcohol bottles in my dispenser. What is going on here? And they're like, well, due to COVID mandates, we had to. And then even the outdoor dancing spaces, they had you still wearing masks.
Yeah.
Right.
And so,
how about the pool party? The Reeves are known for the foam party, the pool party, and I'm just like, so the foam is going to spread COVID, but the pool is not, but the dining area is not, but help me understand all of this, right? So some things don't make sense, and we see that hotels are taking advantage of COVID to save money. And in some respects, because we're on the other side and we take the opportunity to speak to the staff and the all of it. We know that what people don't know and don't really see, which is that hotel or that space is at 60% occupancy. Right. They've been shut down for 8 months without a job. 100% of their people did not come back. Right. They're doing 5 jobs. You're wondering why it's taking them forever to bring you your drink back? It's because they're upstairs filling in the towels and changing the sheets in another room at the same time. That person has 5 jobs and is not getting paid $1 more, right? Wow. They're now even hiring staff that doesn't speak English, that don't speak English, where before that was a requirement, right? Because they just need bodies and people are afraid to come back to work. So it's understanding the whole picture and how we're all in this together and all have been impacted and affected. And although it's your vacation and your valuable time, and this is what you expect to just go and have that feeling and that experience of what you had, you have to have some reality in there as well, that you're still in this pandemic moment. Now.
Also, I like the fact that you bring up change your mindset. I had a trip, so we both went to Ghana separately. I mean, we didn't know each other at the time, but and Ghana trip, we went to Haiti as well. There's this false expectation just because you paid X amount of dollars for a trip, everywhere you go is going to be luxury accommodations, right? And when you go to places like Ghana, Haiti, some of the not so well off, I don't want to say well off, but some of the more third world-ish countries don't expect like luges of water and, ice, like there's sometimes the expectation of enjoy the scenery, enjoy the environment, enjoy the culture. And that's why I like what you guys do is finding cultural ambassadors to help make sure that, look, this is what we're going to experience. It's not just about the, glitz and glamour.
Absolutely.
And then sometimes people want to go, people still asking us about Jamaica. Hey, where can we go at night? I say, Jamaica has a curfew.
With the curfew.
So man, you have to get everything done during the day. But I don't know what it is now. We see we don't keep up with it like we keep up with it as it comes. You know what I mean?
Yes, as a trip
change, like literally like monthly.
Because it can change.
Yes, we don't memorize. We don't memorize the requirements anyway.
Because it changes, right?
We were there during Independence this past year, and they shut down at 3:00.
Right. On Sunday. So the curfew was 7:00 p.m. during the week, and then on Sunday it was at 3:00.
Right. Right. And you can imagine those businesses are struggling.
I'm sure.
Yeah. A lot of who we've known in the industry all over the world is no longer there. A lot of the hotels are no longer in operation. Vendors have shut down. This is how people survive. This is how people survive in these countries.
Right.
So travel agencies.
Right. Travel agencies, tour companies, vendors, suppliers. And so it's just widespread. It's widespread. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what is it that you guys offer that you can say nobody else offers as a travel agency?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I would say our specialty is group travel, right? That's what we like to focus on. That is our strong point. We do have people coming in and they want us to book a honeymoon or a girls trip and things like that. We're good at those as well. We're not just in this for the dollar, right? We really want people. We got into this originally. We got into this business because we wanted people to change pace, which is in our name, and travel and see the world, right? And we will work with anybody, money, wherever, payment plans that wants to do it, right?
Yeah.
Our goal is to just get people to just travel and see the world, right? And we want to give you like the best experience. Like sometimes you got to go to Jamaica. Let's just say, for instance, you got to see this, that, and the other, and I'm going to set this up and blah blah blah. I love curating experiences, not trips. Experiences. I want you to experience the country and get all that you can get out of it.
Right.
You know.
So I would say the answer to what do we do better than anyone else is we meet and exceed your expectation of what you're looking for. And we're realistic. Well, we help you to become realistic about what that looks like in today's environment. Yes. But we're still able to meet it, because it doesn't help it doesn't help you if I go find you a hotel or a place to stay that is not going to provide you with what you really need. Yeah. Right? It's just a place to stay. It's just a price point. That's what a lot of people do. Oh, I can find you one within a budget. It's not about the budget. It's about the expectation and the experience that you're looking for. Yes. If you're 40 miles from where the city is, and that's where you want to be in the city so you can get out and walk, then I shouldn't have you 40 miles from there because it's cheaper, right? Right. So these are the things we do well, is knowing where the actual physical place is in comparison to what you're looking for.
Got you.
And providing all the experiences around that with our tour operators who are on site, locals that we have connected with and gotten to know, and we can call them any minute. Yeah.
Awesome. And do you guys make every single trip? Oh, my apologies. Go ahead.
Every single trip.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all make every trip. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You said, do we make every single trip?
Do you go on every single trip, or you guys curate trips and then there are admins at different locations for different trips?
Oh, okay. No. We are at all of the trips that we curate that are our Change of Pace travel trips. Okay. People call us, though, to curate their trips. And we are not on those trips unless they ask us to be on those trips.
Got it.
Yeah, we curate other people's group trips as well.
Nice.
All right.
But see, the thing about it is we're so good at it that it's almost like we're there, because we have people on the ground that's going to take care of you.
It's true.
We're on the phone like this. The phone.
Yeah. While they're in the airport, waiting for the taxi to pick them up, or waiting for the private. We're like, it's the blue van. Do you see it on your right?
It's like we're over 24 hours.
We're all the way over here, and they're all the way over there, and it's 2:00 in the morning here, and we're like, no, do you see them? They say, that's them. They have your name up. Go on, you're good. We do that.
Oh, nice.
We do that. Yeah.
I'm loving it. So last but not least, tell us where we could find you on and what you guys got coming up.
Okay. Want to
go? What was that?
You can find us on IG. Changing Pace, everything is Changing Pace, PACE travel. So changingpacetravel.com is our website, at Changing Pace Travel IG, and at Changing Pace Travel Facebook is where we are.
And we have at Changing Pace Travel Group, which is our travel group.
Right.
And that's also on Facebook.
Correct. Nice. And for 2022, this year, we're low key this year. So we have Paris that we're going to, but it's sold out already. And we have the Bahamas is the only trip that's booking currently. And we're not adding any more for this year because we want things to just mellow out. So you'll see the 2023 schedule beginning to roll out actually next week. And from then on, you'll continue to see us add 2023 trips. Okay. And we're going to Ghana. We're going to where are we going in 2023?
Dubai. Back to Dubai.
We're back to Dubai, starting it off in March.
Next year.
We're going to Ghana. We have there's an
41.
March is my birthday.
Oh, okay. In March?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I might have to holler at Changing Pace for a birthday present.
Changing Pace Travel, absolutely.
Changing Pace Travel.
Yeah, we just always say to people, it's changing, not change, because people
not
say
change
change,
pace.
not change of, not change, changing. In movement, always in movement. And how do you remember
Ongoing.
pace? Not changing space. That's the other one. It's changing pace.
Changing
Our last
pace.
name's Pace. Pace.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
I won't forget that.
Okay.
All right. Well, once again, we definitely appreciate you both jumping on and really sharing your story.
Yeah.
Because believe me, it's going to resonate with a lot of people. And seeing us do what you do only encourages people to travel more and do more.
Right.
So thank you very much.
If it's real love that you want, I'll show you that and then some. So come on.